Alright, so today we're going to go over the else if statements. But before that, I'm going to comment the work that we did last time up to data type, and then I'm going to continue with else if. Now, what is an else if statement? An else if statement is a conditional statement. It executes codes that that are the result of true condition. Now, I'm going to give you an example of an else if statement. Let's say if 1 is equal to 1, console.writeLine 1 equals 1. So if this statement is true, this line runs. But what if it's not true? That's where we're going to use else if. Let's say 1 equals 1 again. Now, before we continue, there are comparison operators for the conditional statements. Let's say there are several types of comparison operators. And I'm going to list them down here. There's this one, which is equal to, greater than, or equal to, less than or equal to, greater than, less than, not equal to. So these are examples of the comparison operators, and what they do is they're just going to compare two values to each other. And then there's also logical operators, and they are and or. And the logical operators are used to combine multiple comparisons together to see if the statements are true. So here you can see that this says unreachable code. That's because when you debug the program, hold on, let's call this 1 equals 2. Let's go 1, number 2. Let's run this program. Press F5. And here you can see the console writes out 1 equals 1, but not 1 equals 1, and then number 2. That is because since the condition is met up here, it's only going to run the codes within the block, within its block, and then any codes that begins with else if or let's say else. And it stops running. So to change that, we can set this equal to 2. So this is going to result to false. Okay. So if true, then code in block in block runs. So this is going to result to false, and this is going to result to true. And this line isn't going to run because this line has resulted to true. Now let's debug the program. And here it says 1 equals 1, number 2. And that's because this resulted to true. 1 equals 1, number 2 shows up in the console. And the else runs if none of the above is true. And here you can see number 3, since 1 does not equal 2, 3 runs. The else runs and prints out number 3. And when using the logical operators and all comparison must be true. And when using the OR operators, at least one comparison must be true. So let's say if you write down 1 and 1 equals 2 and 1 equals 1, not all conditions are true, so this one isn't going to run. As for this one, if you write down OR, at least one comparison must be true. So if you write down 1 equals 1, then this is going to result to true, because at least one is true, which is this one. And this line isn't going to run. So let's debug the program and test it out. And here you can see 1 is equal to 1, number 2. So the console, the statement under the else if statement runs. Now you can have multiple else if statements, and you can have else if statements inside of an else if statements, and that's called a nested else if statement. So you can say if 1 equals 1, then we can also say if 2 equals 2. It's called nested else if statement. You can say 1 equals 1, 2 equals 2, console.write line a nested statement. And then we can go to debug and start debugging. And here you can see the a nested statement is printed. That's because both of the conditions from the first if else if statement is true, and the nested else if statement inside of it is true. And also, you can have many else if, but you can only have one else statement. And else statement and else if statements can be optional. The if statements can be by itself. And I'm just going to comment this code. And I'm just going to end the video here. And thank you for watching. Bye.